39 years of NRM in power, what achievements can we talk about, and what challenges lay ahead as we move on? But again, we'll also look at the implications of the executive orders signed and issued by the new president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. This week signed a raft of executive orders ranging from immigration to culture, to lifestyles and all that. But what concerns us most is the suspension of foreign aid by the US government for a whole 90 days. And according to the incoming president, the new president, this is to give time to his administration to do several reviews here and there. And in the studios, Dr. Jared Wansara, a man from Namisindwa, one of those districts that do not show good results in PROE, is in the studios. But I'm privileged to have him on the show every time. Happy to have you once again.
Good morning, Apollo. I'm happy to be here. Good morning, viewers. I'm also happy to see my sister Winnie. She has been missing in action for many months. But good to see you. Looking forward to the 2 hours engagement.
True. How was the week? I talked about Namisindwa. I think even last year it was, this time it was not listed, but last year it was listed and among those that performed poorly in PROE.
Yeah, sure. I'm always having my district at heart. You know, ever since we were mutilated into smaller districts, we remained at the border there, at the periphery. But education, especially PLOE, we are not doing very well. When I looked at the analysis by the monitor today, the average aggregates for Namisindwa is about 27.
Wow.
27, that's the average. And it lies among the worst districts down there.
Yeah, true.
So I think there are a lot of issues. Some of them could be national, issues that relate to the national, the management of the education sector. But others, since primary education is highly decentralized, you find there are also weaknesses at the local level. If you have the poor quality of leaders who themselves have very poor education, then you don't expect them to do miracles. If you have a secretary for finance or a secretary for education at the district and their qualifications are questionable, but by virtue of being councillors, they have those appointments.
Is this the case for Namisindwa?
Yeah, sure. We have complained about this and issues of district service commission, which the president has been talking about. Recruitment of teachers only from the village, you know, from the villages around where the quality is poor, some of them with forged academic documents. Actually, I think we were better off when we were recruiting even teachers nationally, because you would find a teacher from Teso teaching in Uganda, you find a Muganda teacher of Nyoro teaching in Bugisu, and so there was quality. Today, a person went to a village school there, from West4, went for TTC nearby, even failed and came to Nassau Road and forged academic documents and bribed the district service commission to enter and join the payroll. So such a fool, what is he going to teach? What does he know about the education? I'm sorry to use such words, but this is the true story. But also, there is a relationship between poverty and education.
Yeah, true.
If you look at the analysis by the monitor today, you see that the best performing schools are in Western Uganda and Central. And also, if you look at the poverty indicators, these two regions are doing better than the East and the North. So parents are able to subsidize education, to take children to better schools, to put in the extras. Now, our people elsewhere are told by the politicians that the president has said, don't even give food to the children. Because the president said, don't pay anything. I have paid, let children just go to school. But you all know that the government is paying school fees for a child about 4,000 Uganda shillings. Those are 4 chapatis. Can 4 chapatis educate a child?
No.
And get quality education? When we were studying, even in up-country schools, we used to have libraries with books. I would carry the Nile English course book in Toronto and stay with it home and read. Today, a kid has never seen a textbook.
Yeah,
Honestly, they're just going wearing uniform and going in those rural schools. So it's something deeper.
Yeah.
Some of the challenges are national, others are local.
It's a really big concern. About actually more than 60,000 candidates were ungraded, and a bulk of that was in districts of Kitgum, Alebtong, Chibuku, Madiokolo, Kweni. Those were the worst performing districts in PRA.
Exactly. So we are education is dividing us into 2. You have the Uganda where children are passing, excelling, doing good courses in universities, engineering and so forth. Then you have now the north and the east where you're only producing primary school teachers, you're only producing people who drop out at a certain point. So eventually it will even reflect in the employment sector. That you'll go for employment and you find certain people in jobs and others are in the village, loitering. It's a serious
issue. Winnie, this primary education is the foundation of knowledge, acquiring knowledge and skills. But the overall performance shows that every year there is an improvement. But issues like now, this high number of candidates who are ungraded, more than 60,000. Actually, those are the ones who failed completely. They have either to repeat or to go into other activities. Make a comment on the PROE examinations that were released this week.
Thank you so much, Apollo, and greetings, viewers. Doctor has stated it very well. We are in a nation that prioritizes quantity over quality around education. Yes. So when you tell me that every year, when we say, and it's not you saying, the Minister for Education always says it, that this year we have performed better than last year. And in my head, I tell myself, what do they use to say that? Can you just analyze so much and see what are the things they use to grade that last year has performed better than this year? And one of it, it's all about how many people have passed. How numbers, it's all about numbers. Not looking at mostly the challenges or the different, how many districts have improved. What is that level of leveling the improvement? We need to also analyze the level they are using. To me, if we are still having an education system where the government is taking quantity over quality, we are still doing bad as a country, because primary education means a lot to our nation, to everyone, to the children who are going also to go into, to the people who are going to go into secondary. Yes, we can't be in a country, the Minister of Education can't get, if she doesn't get worried when she sees that it is always the same areas that are either improving, that are bringing more grades, good grades. I'm not saying that in other districts we don't have good grades from there. But what is the percentage? Is it the picture we want to look at? When you even see that, we also, when I go back to what I'm saying, that let's see the measurement. What do they use to? What are the indicators they
metrics.
use?
Use it.
We also go back to the schools. Which kind of schools are producing these numbers that are bringing the improvement? Are they government schools? Are they private schools? what does that mean to us? If only private schools are bringing the good grades, are improving the numbers, are the ones we are using, and this government stands and celebrates, and the minister stands firmly, the Minister of Education, she stands firmly and says, we have improved. We need to be worried. We need to be worried. It is, I would think that if the government schools are the ones now topping, we would be at the level saying that, okay.
No, the best performers are in private schools.
That is what I'm saying, that we should be worried. And why is the minister even celebrating when the best performers are coming from private schools? Yet we know that the government is putting in a lot of money around. To them, it's a lot of money around UPE. And you will see that people who are failing, doctors said it, you will see that most of those schools that are, they're ranking, those districts that are ranking that they're failing, we will see that those children who are even accessing the schools, because we know even UPE is there, very many children don't access education well. And when we talk about accessibility, we don't mean that going to school and sitting in that under that tree, because we have seen very many schools in those upcountry districts studying under trees, studying under infrastructures which are really deadly and sickening. You can't tell me that kind of child, even when he or she is in class, is accessing education very well. You can't tell me the teacher who is in that school teaching that child is also giving to his or her best. You get it? So even there are very many things.
Many factors.
Yeah, many factors.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Winnie Mugamba is a human rights defender.
Yeah.
Yes, a human rights defender. I didn't introduce you, but I'm privileged to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also privileged to have Dr. Rugarama. I call him Comrade Rugarama. He's a scholar. He's also a Pan-Africanist, but also the chairman of the Pan-Africanist movement. Happy to have you on the show.
Good morning, Comrade Apollo. Good morning, Ndogo Dr. Werike. Good morning, my sister, and good morning, the entire audience. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Quickly, make a comment on what came out of the 2024 primary living examinations. Dr. Werike talked about an education system that is dividing this country into two societies. I don't know what you make of it, but there's what also Winnie talked about. We need to do a deeper analysis of what is happening in our education system, because there is a remark that was made in that statement of results. I hope you saw it, Doctor, that only 20% of the candidates had the ability to comprehend what they read and interpret it and present it during exams. Only 20%. I think those are things we may not take serious, but they speak a lot about our education.
You see, I've always had very serious challenges when it comes to the education system in Uganda. I'm a bit relieved that there is a curriculum redesign, and I think this cohort is the one that has concluded the kind of
the old
curriculum that we have been subjected to, our children have been subjected to. Now, the other one that has been introduced, thank God, has got a lot to do with the skills.
Hands-on.
The hands-on, because education as we know it, or for that matter as it ought to be, should be looking at the mind, the body, is it the hands, the what? There are three areas that the kind of education should be looking at. Professor, the renowned educationist, one of the renowned African educationists, Professor Edward Ezeu, a professor of sociology of education in Ibadan University, defines education as that a people subjected to should be able at the end of the training to manipulate the environment in which they are successfully for their own benefit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know as to how much our education system, be it at primary level, has been able to churn out a given percentage of people that are able to manipulate the environment in which they are. Because we may think that should be at probably a higher level, but I disagree. I think even by end of primary, somebody who has been subjected to what we again call quality education, that also should be subjected to a lot of analysis. What is quality education? When we have these four, there has been a trend. During our time, these fours were not so many. Sure. Now it will, but whoever would be in 9, 7, 12 was the star. And I don't think that we were reading any less. When you look at the kind of madness we, the parents, have been subjected to by this kind of primary education, making sure that our children get the 4s. 5 you have failed. You reach these so-called good schools, they will say, no, it's a 4. Actually, there are schools in this country that whose cutoff point is 4.
Really?
Now you ask yourself, 4? What is that? 4, yes. So, but anyhow, there is a lot that we can talk about when it comes to the PLE, especially this one that these ones that have just concluded it, and I think it is not all rosy. The failure rate, you see, even if the education system, by the way, we are looking at it and we're saying now this is not proper, this is not the kind of education system that we should be subjecting our pupils to. Even the bad one that we have, how well have we managed it?
Yeah.
To imagine that you have got the over, you said 6,000?
Yes, over 60,000.
60,000
ungraded.
Ungraded. You know what? That's criminal. You see, somebody, by the way, it's just because we don't take responsibility. But in a proper functioning education system, some people who are decision makers, even if it is not probably their problem directly, should be able to take political responsibility and say, accordingly, my own conscience tells me that this failure rate will not make me go home and sleep comfortably. I therefore resign.
I am not so sure if that was one of the metrics
let me tell you about.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Last year, actually there were many more candidates who failed.
Then they should have resigned last year.
And I was thinking if possibly that was one point where they from where they made this judgment that there was a slight improvement. I don't know.
You see, we don't take comfort in mediocrity. And that's why it still does not take away my point. you see, I'm not expecting people to perform miracles. I'm only being fair to say, you see, by the way, even in your resignation letter, you should be able to point out that, look, this is not my problem. This is a system problem. But I am part of it, and I was charged with the responsibility to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I find myself in the circumstances unable to achieve what my conscience tells me I should be able to achieve. I seem not to see my government making me able to achieve my own self-set targets.
I'm resigning.
I therefore resign. I thank you, people.
Make a comment now. I think let's open debate on because this now digs into the 39 years of NRM. The celebrations will be in Mubende district. One area that I hope is embedded in the history of the NRM. Mubende is where the war started.
Part of the Royal Triangle.
Yeah, war started. The barracks that they invaded, Kabamba is in Mubende. I now give you time to push the debate further. You've been talking about the education. I think these are the sectors possibly that would give us a bigger picture of the achievements of the NRM in these 39 years. Tell us about the your general perspective on the 39 years of NRM.
We can look at the NRM against the very benchmarks that they set they themselves, even when they were still in the bush. The 10-point program was not a document that was designed after the Bush war comrades had emerged from the bush. They were still in the bush.
No, it was around 1983?
Yes, around there. That can be traced in the late General Pecos Kutesa's book. It is also captured in Sowing the Mustard Seed, first edition. The comrade retired Major John Kazora says a little bit of it in his book, Betrayed by My Leader. And I think there was a statement to that effect that was made by the late Colonel Serwanga Rwanga in one of the papers he presented then as a commissar about the 10-point program. Later, of course, the 10-point program graduates into the 15-point program, and a number of benchmarks were laid. Peace and security, the first, of course, I think, was democracy, peace and security, integrated self-sustaining national economy, the non-discrimination on gender and religion,
issues of national unity.
So a quite fighting corruption. And I think 39 years has been quite a lot of time.
True.
In all fairness. A lot of time for a revolutionary leadership like NRM to have achieved much more than it has achieved. Truth be told, that even us, some of us who are subscribed to NRM, we agree, because otherwise we would look shabby here on such a TV, to claim that what the NRM set out to achieve 39 years ago has actually been achieved. Something has been achieved. We can contest as to whether what has been achieved is something to write home about or not. But I think there has been great strides in the area of democracy, because somebody can now stand and say, I belong to, of course at one time it was all NRM, later on when there was a reintroduction of multi-party politics, then members now choose where to belong. There are elements within that probably the opposition political parties have not been given the kind of freedom, the latitude for them to be able to profess their and carry out the kind of politics they would want to carry out, and that, for instance, the civic education, vote education is deliberately not done in a manner that would enable free and informed decision. Some of these voices come out. Maybe there is some level of truth in that. Then we have got the issues of peace and security. At one time, this country, especially the eastern and northern part of this country, were a no-go area completely, and also, but there has been the Konyi factor, the Arsarakwena factor, and so many other rebel
ADF
outfits
now,
have been dealt with. Is the western part of it, of the ADF and what have you. They have been dealt with effectively, and we have got
relative peace,
very serious enjoyment of peace at that front. Now the economy may not necessarily be where we thought it would be by now. But I am privileged to move to our neighbors. I recently was in Bujumbura. I have looked at their economy, and I'm not saying that I take comfort. Yes, that is Burundi. I'm not saying that I take comfort in the fact that because our neighbors are worse off,
in comparing Uganda with
therefore we are okay. No. For us, if we were supposed to be at a certain level of economic development and we are not there, then we must take blame. But when you look at what is happening in some of our neighborhood, I think Uganda is somewhere, although I want to believe that there is quite a lot of work that we can do.
Thank you, Comrade Rugarama. I now get it. You're saying we have had actually made big strides in the sector, in the economy, in the area of peace and security and stability. We have made strides in areas of democracy, but just to make a comment on the area of service delivery, at least for health, you've said the people in charge of the health sector, education, in the sector of education should have resigned yesterday. Is it the only sector you think you have performed dismally, or not to expectations?
You see, the truth of the matter, actually, I think the correct word is delivered to expectation. There is a lot that has been expected of NRM. And somebody would actually say that we are judging NRM harshly. No. When you are good, when a student is good, I remember at one time in class, there was one of our colleagues, I think it was actually in secondary, and this young man was called Bwire. So he used to be number one, and he became my friend because when I couldn't beat him, so I said no, he should be my friend, and I think that is a good tactic. So his average was always 87, 85, around there. Now this time he maintained his first position, but his total average was actually 76. Now he was brought in front and he was caned. But his argument was like, never such one was nze number one, nze. So the argument of that he was still number one is still the first.
So what do you say?
So the argument was of the class teacher was that no, it is not enough. I expected for you the average to be better.
So
than it was.
NRM may have performed.
Yes,
better,
it is delivering.
But it's not enough.
Exactly, it is delivering. But you are delivering at what rate?
Oh, okay.
You see?
Thank you.
Yes.
Dr. Wirihe, speak about the 39 years of NRM. We may not exhaust all the areas in the interest of time, but Rugalama has highlighted sectors of education, which we have been, service delivery. Let's talk about service delivery as a whole, the social service delivery. And he talked about, of course, we may not have debate on peace and security. I don't know if you can. Peace and security, that one, the NRM government has made indeed huge strides, but in the areas of governance, I think there could be debate there. I don't know what you make of these 39 years.
First of all, I want to tell you that the NRM came when I was a baby.
Wow.
Now over 40 years, 40 plus. So it's a long time. If a baby can grow and also have children and they're even joining secondary school and stuff like that. So it's not a short time.
Yeah.
And usually performance is a factor of cost and time. Okay? Cost, how much have you spent to achieve this outcome? And in what period of
and that is why
time?
Lugalama's friend was being caned.
Yes, in a period of time. So I won't sit here and say that the NRM has achieved nothing. I will be lying the country. Look at the areas of gender and women. We're now seeing results reflected in the university. Even girls are becoming more than boys at every graduation. In Makerere, I've also seen UPE. So one of the positives of the results they released the other day, I saw the gender balance. It was quite good. And also people with disabilities. There is some awareness going on. I saw the number
special
of
needs learners
with special needs sitting for PLO is increasing. That's a plus. But of course, there is a lot of inadequate facilities. I'm not seeing any new school, any new specialized center for the NGOs that are more focused on supporting maybe education, children with disabilities and stuff like that. But all in all, there are some strides. If you look at energy, we had one power dam, we're seeing a number of them.
True.
The challenge remains with the cost, the affordability. That in many areas you find there is umeme, but the wires are just passing on the highway because people cannot afford to get that power. Well, now in peace and security, I would like to agree with him, but also partly that the NRA were some the destabilizers also, because they're in the bush, both fighting, killing. So when they left the bush and they came, it also contributed to pacifying Uganda. Then they started fighting their enemies. But I am happy that today internally, in terms we don't have any military confrontation. But other areas of peace, of security, like security from hunger, security from poverty, as you know, human security has a number of aspects. If there is no war, but you have slept hungry, you will not sleep. We have so many people in Uganda now, even when you look at the statistics on food insecurity, is very high. We're also seeing now those who operate in the night with iron bars and so forth to steal a phone. and go and that criminality also related with the poverty, because if you kill me and you steal a phone of
Yeah, but I think criminality is embedded in every society, because even in developed countries that those bigger economies, criminality is also a factor.
I mean
It's a challenge.
I mean the objective. In the US, for instance, someone could carry a gun just because he's angry and shoot other students in school. That is different from you hitting
Kataimba,
me
the
and
hitman.
steal a phone of 50K. You can sell it and eat food. You know, it's different. So we are saying that, but in health, before the NRM came, for instance, the governments in power focused on regional hospitals, the regional referral district hospitals. But the challenge at the time, there was a lot of disease in the countryside. So the policy under the NRM changed to focus on primary health care.
Yeah, immunization.
Health center 2s, health center 3s, and immunization. Actually, immunization went up.
Yeah.
Right now, we have a reduction in the child mortality rate and the maternal mortality rate. But maternal mortality rate is still quite high, partly because of sometimes indiscipline or even lack of tools by medical workers when there is an emergency. So we still have that. We have so many doctors on the market, but there is a ban in recruitment by the government facilities. So you still have inadequate health workers.
Yeah, but the good thing is that their salaries were improved.
Yes, but even if they are improved, but the numbers are low, you may not serve, because there is a required ratio of
doctor to patient ratio,
patient or nurse to patient. So that now coming to governance, I think when the NRM came, one, they brought the restored discipline in the forces, and they were praised for that. The UPDF became, and the NRM, which became UPDF, was an admirable
NRA
institution,
which became UPDF.
Exactly. We have so many people, even my family, who were attracted after degrees to join the army. But over time, these institutions, I think because of longevity, they are getting destroyed. That now UPDF is being seen in the light of politics. That it's court martial and so forth is used to try civilians. And when you go to appeal, the appeal takes forever in the courts of law. So I think there is deterioration in that respect.
Okay, I am sorry, I'll cut you short. There's something they want to work on your microphone. Of course, we are in the dialogue looking at the 39 years of NRM, and the panelists are analyzing this issue relatedly on basing on different sectors of government, and looking at the social service sector, looking at the sector of governance, and of course other sectors. And another thing is basing on what NRM pledged to deliver, the 10 points program, issues of peace and security and stability and all others. Doctor, I think your mic is now clear. Let's go back and then you conclude anyway.
Yeah, anyway, I'm concluding, and I was on the issue of now, because as much as the army is a security institution, but it's a governance institution, because it helps to restore peace and stability in the country in order for the politics to go on well. But as a partisan, visibly partisan, I think there is loss of confidence in the institution. Issues of human rights. The president, while in the bush, and when that just come, whenever a soldier killed, for instance, civilians,
the punishment would be death.
Firing squad death. And this restored discipline in the army, I'm not saying they should be restored, but there is a lot of indiscipline that is there.
In the army?
It is there.
I have seen incidents where the army court actually sentences soldiers to 60, 70 years. I mean,
But I've seen cases of
very harsh punishments.
of the military and
If they-
command beating civilians like animals.
Or maybe.
This has been happening, and it's also a form of indiscipline. Because even if they come and work side by side with police, that level of clobbering, beating journalists, there are famous photos here you see,
Yeah.
where a journalist is taking a photo and is being clobbered like a snake, you know. So there are such cases. We are seeing now the police has deteriorated, turning police institutions into transactional places,
Okay.
whereby if you report a case, the next thing is get money from the person who has reported, also from the person who has been taken there.
Okay.
And then you find the case is killed at the time of compiling evidence. By the time the file goes to the DPP, it is hollow.
Okay.
There is nothing.
So the overall performance of NRM in 39 years, give us that overall.
Yeah, it is a mix.
Assessment.
There are positives, but also there are many negatives now.
Many
and
negatives.
the biggest failure now is lack of certainty in our politics. That after 39 years, of course, the constitution is there, but the institutions have become dysfunctional. The parliament, no public trust in it. The police, public trust is very low. Now, other institutions, the army is also following suit because of what is happening. And then political succession, we are not sure. We're just seeing family members jumping here and there, and the NRM party itself is hollow. You see that it's not an institution that you can really admire like CCM in Tanzania, and you say, even if President Museveni is not there tomorrow, NRM is going to survive. So that is the
uncertainty in politics.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I have only 5 minutes to go to a break, but before we cross over to Winnie, Comrade Rugarama made I can't call it a harsh judgment on service delivery, on the social service delivery, especially on education, that people should be resigning, those who are managing the education sector. I don't know what is your general verdict on the performance on the social service sector.
The social service sector, honestly, is poor delivery of services right now. It's very, very poor. One, because of high level of corruption. Then also the character, the behavioral aspect, that some people are taking the jobs as a joke. When you are given an office, you think it is personal, like your home, and therefore you take a decision based on how you wish, not based on the procedures that you have. The other, which is a big challenge, we have a society, a population that is focused on drinking, smoking, praying. I'm not saying these are bad, but also the political maturity, that you have a responsibility to hold institutions of governance accountable. You find someone comes and you have received the road fund, 1 billion, and then someone opens here, with a hose for a distance of 1 kilometer and accounts for using the hose and accounts for 400 million. And you are all aware, the councillors, the LOC3 chairpersons, and you all keep quiet and you just keep talking about that at a Marwa Joy. What are you helping?
There is some information which Apple I would want to give.
Do it in just 1 minute. We're going for a break.
The CCM now, the Chama cha Mapinduzi, has already sorted out itself for the next elections. The Suruhu is the flag bearer, and the former speaker is actually the running mate. That is a plus now in terms of streamlining governance.
You agreeing with the doctor that NRM as a
no,
party,
but we have always...
Wait a minute. He used the word, and it's a very strong word, that NRM is hollow.
Not necessarily that, but
a lot of uncertainty on
but it is where where NRM is not where I expected it to be. We should be doing much better. And indeed, there are some elements of uncertainty within our party, and that shouldn't be.
Okay, viewers, we will go for a short break. We are still interrogating the 39 years of NRM in power. Of course, in the second hour, we will dedicate a good time to the implications of the executive orders which were issued and signed by the US President Donald Trump. And these include suspending aid, foreign aid, considering that Uganda has been a long-time beneficiary of US aid. And even one of those executive orders is targeting WHO funding, completely scrapping it off. And what could be the implications if we are not...
They're scrapping off?
Funding.
Oh, they are 15% contribution.
Yes.
Let them go.
WHO.
It's okay.
We'll be looking at that. But still, when we return, Winnie will be also telling us what his views are.
Her views.
Okay, sorry. Her views are. I'm sorry. Her views are on the 39 years of NRM in power. But you can also be part of this discussion. Send in your comments and observations as we prepare to celebrate the 39 years of NRM. What do you think are those achievements that we can speak about? What do you think are those sectors where we still have challenges and where we have excelled?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, doctors. Now I also feel like a doctor whenever I sit between the doctors. That is why I hurry to sit in between. It challenges me to go back and read. Just reading before I even get to that level. Thank you so much. NRM at 39. I want to bring it out in a book. There are very many books I would relate NRM at, but at 39, I want to relate NRM to Peter Kenyon's book, Dictatorland, The Men Who Stole Africa. Yes, this book examines leaders, African leaders, who have consolidated power, or who have exploited state resources, and who are suppressing opposition. And at NRM at 39, I would put it there. That is why I want to put it in. I'm bringing it out in that book. At it now, I think it is we at the new colonial era. Yes, it is the truth. We are in a new colonial era. Then it was the external colonialists, but now we are feeling the internal colonialism. That is where we are at. Because when we talk about service delivery, service is broad. Yes, I will start from voice, because voice is power, and voice is what shapes either social service, anything around delivery. And at this time where we see that I talked about suppression of opposition, and we are witnessing it in Uganda right now at NRM at 39. We are seeing civic space being monitored, and that is why I said we are experiencing the new era of colonialism from the internal persons who came in with a motive of shaping a new Uganda they wanted, a new Uganda from whatever dictatorship we are going through. But you would see, if I just want to compare the new and the old one, you would see at then that the civic space was so much monitored, and you would read, when you read about the trade unions, the civic spaces that were there, the organizations that were there, they were so much being monitored. And you could see that is where we are now. You would see that pressure groups or people or oppositions who would rise up and speak to power against the colonialists, they would be imprisoned. Yes, that is what we are witnessing right now. That is why I'm calling it. Yeah, that is why I'm calling it that we are now experiencing NRM at 39, the new colonialist of the country. When we talk about now exploitation, You would see how slavery was high then. You would see how our minerals, many things were being taken away from here. What is it now? Right now, we would see that exploitation is high. It is in favor for the elites, not for everyone. If you look at the poverty level and the difference, you would see that very many people, yes, we see that there is improvement. He talked about women. He talked about education, how we see very many women are grading high.
Gender empowerment.
We are seeing very many women in business. But when we talk about many, what is many to you? When we talk about businesses, income, we see businesses opened. What is the income level? We are seeing there is a very huge gap between income inequality. So there is a lot of exploitation. Right now, mineral resources are for the elites. You will see when you look at, there are those Ugandans who are benefiting, and then the many are not. And still the third one, I talked about consolidating power. There's doctor talked about democracy. Yes, the democracy is there, but when we talk about democracy, what do we really mean? At this time, when we see that power is centralized, there is a lot of militarization and use of power. Right now, yes, doctors say that we can speak about issues, but what exactly can you speak about? Without fear that how will I reach home? Without fear that, okay, next time what am I, without what do we really speak? Yes, people speak, but what are the consequences that people have faced? We have witnessed very many people being silenced, yes, in different ways. We are openly. Right now, we need to differentiate the NRM at 10, the NRM at 20, and the NRM at 39. Today, the NRM is at 39. It's far different from the NRM at
better or
worse.
Well,
that is why I put it in that book. Right now, I can name NRM as dictator land. The book for Paul Kenyon. I told you. You get it. It was the 10 points. The doctor talked about it. I don't want to go back there. If NRM had stayed in what they promised us, and like he said, we are judging it basing on what they promised and the reason why they went in the bush. That is where we are. I'm not judging NRM, but I'm trying to analyze what they promised us, why they went to the bush. Yes, when we talk about service delivery right now, yes, NRM has done everything. I can't say that they haven't done things, but for who? For who? When we get an answer of the things being done are done for who?
When health centers are built, they are for citizens in those localities where they are built. When roads are constructed and tarmacked, these are roads for the citizens who live in those places.
We need to stop analyzing things only around buildings and what we see. You've talked about hospitals. Yes, health centers are built, and we thank NRM for those health centers at every level. Do we find medication? Is medication there? Even when it is there, are we seeing how people are dying from there? Do you know the number of how many mothers are dying from there?
Isn't that progress? When that time when there were no health centers at lower levels and spread across the whole country, and now this time we have health centers at almost every parish. There is a health center. There are health center too, I think.
But better have been closed now, focusing on
health center 3s. Yes.
That is why I started with.
Isn't that progress? And then we start asking for, of course, specialized services.
That is why I started with, we thank what they have done. But we are analyzing at 39. I am analyzing at 39. Yes, that has been done and we appreciate. And sometimes in, personally, I sometimes analyze dictators in a way that they sometimes put something as a mask. When you tell me that you have put a health center, you brought it near to the people, and there is no medication, and there are no doctors, there are no even beds where people can sleep. Why is it there? For who?
You don't see.
So you want me to, when I'm sick, to just change home to hospital and I go and die from a health center because the services are not there. The buildings or the infrastructure has been brought near to me, but the yet services are not yet done. Let's not talk about NRM at 45 or 40 that is going to be done. Yes, we appreciate, but right now at 39, there is something lacking.
So you still
and
you
what
also
I'm
agree
talking
with
about.
Rugalama that well, it's better, but it's not enough.
I agree, but not to the better.
What has been done?
There is something
good,
that has been done,
but it's not enough.
but it is not what they should have done. Because now when you look at, like, when you look at different places, there are things we don't want to go into. Where I come from, and you look at a healthy center there, you'll go to another place and you'll find a very big hospital built there. We go to education. He said it well, that people responsible should resign. And indeed they should resign. Yes, when we go now to issues of peace and security, yes, peace and security is something broad that we also need to talk about. Doctor here said something. When we talk about peace and security, people say we get sleep. Who tells you that people get sleep? That is why churches are always full at night, because people don't have sleep. People don't have meals to eat. People are poor. Now they have run to God to look for what? To see that God blesses them with money. People don't have the peace. So when we talk about security is there, are we talking about only not having like
wars and conflicts?
Is it what defines security and peace? Because whenever I hear people, even the president, speak about peace and security, they're only defining wars. That is not only security.
Okay.
That
And the absence of war does not amount to peace.
Okay.
That is what most, just still as I conclude, good, you brought it very well out. And then when we talk about corruption, at 39, NRM at 39, it is just an order of the day. That in Uganda, as long as you're part of the group, even if when you steal anything. So corruption is the order of the day. So at NRM at 39, I can't say that it has done its best, or it has done well. NRM at 39, it is deteriorating.
Thank you so much, Winfred, and thank you so much, our viewers. It's time to pick feedback. My producer will run the numbers on the screen, but it is 0701 609906. It's the number which you can use to send in WhatsApp messages, send in SMS, and tell us what you think about the achievements and the challenges of the 39 years of NRM in government. As we go on to celebrate the 39th Liberation Day Liberation Anniversary in Mubende district, what can we talk about? What can we pride in? What can we highlight as the challenges ahead? Let's get your comments in a while, but Richard Baguma is watching. Thank you so much. He said he had to stop over as he's driving from Mbalala to Masaka, and he is watching. Thank you so much. We miss you on this show. But Dr. Rugalama, we have to conclude on this. What can you highlight now from the submissions of your colleagues in the studio as the most pressing and current challenge to the NRM government?
It is, to be real, it is service delivery. And I remember at one time in one of our discussions here, I told you that in our party, NRM, we have a deficiency of cadre identification, training, monitoring, placement and monitoring. And that has crystallized into very serious limitation.
Identification,
Yes, cadre identification, training, placement, and monitoring.
but that is everything.
Absolutely, it is everything. Because you see, if we want the NRM manifesto to be implemented, because we are not short of resources as a party, and if we have offered ourselves as the vanguard of leadership to this country, we must choose the best of us to deliver. I remember here telling you that be it a minister, if a minister who does not appreciate the NRM ideology, an RDC, a deputy RDC who does not appreciate the NRM ideology, corruption is as a consequence of people who do not know a NRM ideology. Really? Yes, I'm telling you. Anybody who is into service delivery under the NRM leadership, be it that person be him or her a minister, an ambassador, an RDC, a cow, or whatever it is. Of course, don't tell me about that you see cow is a public servant and who is not at the end of the day. The point is that if it is NRM in leadership, we are now criticizing NRM where it has not delivered simply because of the wrong cadres that have, for whatever reasons, found themselves in places of service delivery where they do not qualify.
Okay.
That I can assure you. The problem we have mainly in NRM is that we have not properly identified our cadres who have got enough dose of the NRM ideology, placed them properly after identifying
you
them.
have many of them out there, those that are grounded in the ideology you're talking
We
about.
We do. Unfortunately, the powers that be who are supposed to identify them and place them there, they have not done that job. We seem to burden the president with so much, everything, our chairman and the president. We overwhelm him.
Let me throw it to Dr.
We compete amongst ourselves in being seen to say the president, His Excellency, as if people don't know his name.
Do you agree that the people who have messed up this country are those that lack the NRM ideology?
Yeah, yes, true, but also it may be false. But I agree when he says that people who don't understand the ideology of NRM are likely to err. For instance, NRM talks about one of its pillars is patriotism. What does patriotism mean? It's love for your country. So if you love your country, do you still iron sheets for the vulnerable? do you still goats that are going to elevate poverty in Karamoja? You know, they talk about socio-economic transformation. If you steal money from procurement, or you're a supervisor RDC somewhere, and you are involved in stealing land for your personal gain, are you promoting the president's message and the party of socio-economic transformation? So I agree, because for us, when I was active in the politics,
there is speaking about something and doing it or practicing it.
Now that is the value system. Ideology gives you the value system, the values that are supposed to govern your character in the execution of your duties. But if you deviate, then you are like a headless chicken. You don't know where you are going.
But the question is, Comrade Rugarama, the people you have employed in those offices of responsibility, and indeed you saw them as having their ideology at heart, did they perform to expectations? Those who speak it and speak the ideology of NRM, do they do what you expect of them?
Let me tell you this. The ideologically correct people of NRM that have been placed correctly. They have done a tremendous. I don't want to start raising people's egos, by the way. Here, I would give you names, but I can't risk that. Let me make a general comment that people who masquerade to be NRM
are the ones who
do not understand the NRM ideology, who have been placed in places simply because of peddling lies to the president. People buy their positions by peddling lies, mudslinging the others, and they get themselves into positions of responsibility in NRM government, and they end up doing the wrong things, and those are the praise singers you hear who compete on TV and radio to mention the name of the president. His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. Who doesn't know that? It is judicial knowledge.
Why doesn't the appointing authority replace them with those ideologically oriented cadres?
Unfortunately, it has not happened, but it will happen. It is work in progress. Don't worry.
Apollo, I want to agree with Dr. Lugala and what he's saying, and that is why I think many still NRM has oppositions of people who even started NRM with the president because somewhere they didn't agree. Because of sometimes you don't want to talk the truth, but people have bad manners. Absolutely. So the people you're talking about who are now trying to lie came with also, let me say, okay, they came maybe with their bad manners. Remember, most of them were just bought from their parties. So if they can easily buy you, I'm not a politician, but this is something I feel I analyze. If they can buy someone from their party and brought into NRM, first of all, that is a rotten what? Don't think there'll be 100%. It is easier for that person to catch the bad manner disease within the NRM. We can't say that the people who don't have the ideology of NRM, because we see that now most people are not those people who were there then, yet they are of age.
They have new members, and
I'm saying
of
they
course
are
a
of
party
age.
as it grows.
I mean, when I say they are of age, I don't mean that most of them are young blood. Meaning that it is easier for them to fuel and also continue with these bad manners that let these other people of NRM who left NRM, or even those who are even quiet still within, yes, even when they see things are going on badly, yes, it is bad manners.
Okay.
For those people, they are bad mannered, and still it is a culture within NRM that they need to deal with. Not only the person. Let NRM deal. Where did we go wrong? Where did our bad manners grow and grow and grow?
Okay.
And get this
wait a minute. Let me read a comment from Richard Baguma. And actually, I had skipped it. And I think he's making a comment on the 39 years of NRM. He says, if I promise to undertake a project of not less than 50 years, and I am into my 39th year, have I not highly scored?
But
I think
we can judge you.
To what we used to hear, that NRM was a project of 50 years. They are still in the 39th year. Oh. And there's something to show at least. He says maybe there's so much, there's more time left for them to accomplish what has not been accomplished. I don't know.
After 39, at what percentage are you expected to be? Because you are left with roughly 11 years. You are expected to be somewhere like maybe 77, 79. Is NRM there? In all fairness, not exactly.
You are not there.
Not
okay.
exactly.
Well, you can do a rebuttal if you're still watching, if you're not driving again. Let's have your comments. Viewers, tell us what you think about the 39 years of NRM. Good morning, Mr. Moderator and the panelists. I am Godwin within Kampala. For me, the NRM liberation as of now means nothing to the ordinary Ugandan. You hear now what other people perceive of what you've told before, Rugarama, for all these years. Thanks for the show, Apollo. I am Martin from Busia. Congratulations to the NRM 39th anniversary. Congratulations to the 47th USA President Donald Trump. Good, that is end of comment. Congratulations. He must be a strong supporter of the NRM, I presume. Well, I'll read the comments as they come in. Keep those comments coming in, but we need to move on. Can you wind up on this issue of NRM and what you think is the most pressing and immediate challenge they have to deal with, at least if we have to go by Baguma's submission, if they still have 11 years?
Of course, Baguma, I get his comment. One, the issue of mindset change of the politicians themselves and the citizens is key. Two, because before even I said two, if you're head of state and then you are in Imbala, you address, and the process say, Mzee, we also need the man after all. Other people deceive you and you give them when the circles don't. Then you say, okay, you are Malaya, I've given you 100 million. Sometimes I wonder, how do we account for such monies? Now, as a dad, the indiscipline trickles down to the ordinary person. So we need to be exemplary. Unfortunately, I'm not going to see that change. The other is we need to improve on our politics. Let's have certainty. Begin by building your NRM. If it's not functioning well, there are people at the NRM secretariat who see the office of the national chairman, the lady Namiaro, moving everywhere, cooking pirao, doing what, distributing motorcycles. Sometimes they know where the money is coming from. Then they also complain that they're starved. You find there's no program going on at the party. So the institution operates as if it is already dissolved. So I think those are the areas we need to restore the dignity of our security forces, the army and the police, because they are key to the stability of the country. So that we don't get stuck in the mud or moving in the cycle, that we had confusion, NRM straightened up things, then at the end we are going back into a reverse form. I think those are the things we need to focus on. And the key right now is with the President of the Republic of Uganda, the key to stability of this country.
Finally, when you talk about uncertainty, there has been a debate on transition. Do you think it is something that is so urgent during this time that the NRM it should start from the NRM and it comes out clearly?
Yeah, science has proved that the older you grow, the more you decline mentally and physically. So if when the President Museveni was 40 plus, the time he came, he used to talk with a lot of strength, he was very quick, he used to, focus on a lot of serious things. Now, in the 80s, he's slowing down. We are seeing indiscipline in government, almost everybody doing what they want. And of course, you see his frustration at public functions when he threatens these thieves, I'm going to roast them, these corrupt pigs here, they are failing me. But the question remains the how. Because then you find others whispering, no regime again, that we have to pick and eat. So for me, I think this is the time we really need to think about transitioning as a country. And I think we need a national debate on this. But as we discuss the transition, we also need to discuss the issues that are likely to affect Uganda, because there are so many issues. You have the land issues in Apa, you have, balkanization of tribes. In Bugisu now you have like traditional leaders 3. A person cannot live in Namisimbo and work in Sironko. Now, how do all these things go to play? We are seeing the Bavandimwe saying that denied the passports and they want straight citizenship by birth. Well, there are so many issues that we need to correct, and they have to go to be discussed together with the transition, and probably maybe these issues can bring us all together to discuss them.
Winfred, is the transitional debate something that that the NRM should adopt around this time at 39?
At 39, I think the love our president has for our country, the way he says it, and everything he says about when he's giving his speech.
And I think when you talk about transition, you're talking about post-Museveni era.
Yeah, it's even when we. That is why I'm getting. We don't even need to go into now discussing about it. That is why I'm starting from the love he has for the country and everything he says and the passion from when he came and now. I think we would even just do a favor for the country he loves, for the things he has done for the country, to see that for a better legacy, to see that the things he has done, he can hand over power. He could set a good precedence as a president, because the reason why he came, there is a reason why he came, and he should, as he doesn't have to leave the citizens to now debate about transitioning. I believe by now at 39, he should be having having a plan of transitioning. So at 39, good that next year we are electing. Me personally, the way the president loves this country and the things he has done for us and what he said why he's here, I believe that is the only gift he could give this country. Is
what?
I believe that is the gift the president can give and leave and say next time I'm not the one.
He should do what?
He should. I'm not going to say to resign. Yes, me, I'm not using the word resign.
He should not.
He should give
again.
us a gift as a president. Our president should give the country, this country he loves so much. He should give us the gift of retiring peacefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
People did not listen to that statement properly. That is Baguma speaking. This is not a mere change of guards. It is a fundamental change. The guard is still in place. In comparison, the one who had stayed longest in the guard duty prior was just shy of 9 years. This is surely fundamental. I don't know if you understand the message in Baguma's comment. Do you?
But I think he seems to suggest that the major objective was the 50 years, to achieve the 50 years. So if you have run a marathon, you are doing 50 laps, and you are now at 39, you have achieved.
By the way, the ability to stay, to hold the power and keep it itself is an achievement. Forget about what you have done with that power for that period, but the ability to keep it. How many political leaders have kept? That's Kobote.
I think that is,
if he was around.
That is the message.
Yes.
In Baguma's comment, because he says, if he insists the guard is still in place.
Yes.
If you talk about the other regimes were chasing
in and out
one another, in and out.
Yes.
But this time the guard is still in place.
And what my sister is asking of our chairman, that is, I request her to leave those matters to us. In the party.
The guard can still, they ask me for my comments. I'm not.
In the party, we shall decide as to whether the old man should go or not.
Okay. It is okay. NRM can even stay in power.
But you see, you see, comrade, I think you talked about it. You yourself,
yes,
you admitted that within your party, NRM, you are not, you seem not to be in charge of the situation.
No, the unfortunate part is that we have not clearly cultivated a transitional route within the party. Now,
You're
that
expecting to
that
do it
lack,
at 45.
at 45 it may not. That's why I'm saying some of these things, by the way, we have to be honest. That's why I said, and I have not said it for the first time, that there are elements of uncertainty within our party that
and in
makes us
government.
unsettled.
And in government,
You see?
because you complain that outsiders hijacked the influential positions, either in government and
They
and
still
they are messing
do.
up
They still do.
the system.
It's unfortunate that they still do. That our own cadres, first of all, the cadreship itself within our party has died down. That we now have masqueraders who come and capture positions within the party, and then you see, how do you preach the gospel when you don't know it? Because you see, by the time you want to claim to be a sheikh, you must convert into Islam.
Yeah.
Some people, when immediately they come and convert into Islam, they want to be addressed as sheikhs.
Because it's a culture maybe they find there.
It becomes a very big problem.
Okay, thank you so much, our viewers.
But again, Apollo, just to, I gave my view as a person who loves the president, as a citizen, not as a member of any party. So if NRM members are asking us not to comment, yes, we could be citizens who love the president to the extent that would want to see another person from NRM come and lead and we see how it goes. So for you, even the comments you're showing us here, it shows us that already there is confusion within.
There is this
By the time
content.
people come from outside and they even capture to that extent, for me, I believe that is what they find inside. Whenever you find something rotten, whenever you put a mango near a rotten mango in the same basket, they're all rot. So these people, not only, I believe that is what they're finding in there. And our president has doesn't have a problem, but has a problem that the almost people around him don't want him to go, not because they love him so much, because at the end of it all, we will all die at any one time. But sometimes a lot of when you're overstressed and you have a lot of work, you can easily collapse and die. And when you die in an unplanned way, sometimes things are not good. People want the president to stay around because of their selfish motives.
All right, thank you, gentlemen and the lady. We have to move on. We have to. I don't know if you're traveling to Mubende.
I don't think I will be going to Mubende, but whoever will be going.
Supporter, you're not going to.
No, this time around I will not. I have gone elsewhere, but this time around I will not be going.
The morale has died.
But I wish those who will be traveling safe journey. And
Winnie, are you going to Mubende?
To do what?
Post the certain celebrations.
There is nothing for me to celebrate to go away from my village, to go and celebrate in Mubende. No. NRM, I personally told your NRM at 39 what is needed. So I can't move away from my village. I'm one of the people who are not at peace and safety. I don't have what to eat. So I use transport to go to Mubende. Will I walk?
You are not so patriotic, you people. I will not ask the doctor if he is willing to travel to Mubende.
But I always watch. You know, in Museveni's speeches, sometimes I get a lot of wisdom. There are things he talks about,
true.
Which as a young person, sometimes I don't know. And
so you're going to follow on TV and on radios?
I follow him.
You will not travel to Mubende?
No.
You're privileged to have, you're among the few who have the TV.
But
Winnie is claiming she doesn't have a TV.
Well, thank you so much, our viewers, for those comments coming in. And we need now to shift gears to our next topic. But someone says Uganda is at 39, but we are still in danger of contaminated water and going long distances to get health services. Well, I think those are the challenges, possibly in social service, which must be urgently addressed. And Comrade Rugarama, it is a huge challenge. There's irony in that whole thing. We have plenty of fresh water all around us, but people are still drinking water from wells where even also cattle drink. It's not so good. Possibly we may see things change, like things like clean water supply is still so low.
I agree. Samara Machel one time commented that when we were elected into government, we would have taken a decision to either drink champagne or provide clean water to our people. And Chinua Achebe, writing about the politics in Africa, said that the biggest challenge of Africa, he was writing actually about Nigeria, which could easily be spread to the entire Africa. Said the biggest challenge of Nigeria is governance. You could say that of Africa. In that regard, however well-intentioned the NRM has been, and probably still is, all the challenges notwithstanding, I think we still have a problem of governance.
Thank you. Doctor, let's give us what you think about these executive orders that Donald Trump signed this week, including suspending foreign aid from which we are beneficiaries as a government of Uganda, especially in areas of health, education, and in defense. We benefit from the US government majorly in those areas. And now the foreign aid is suspended for 90 days. He is withdrawing from the Paris Accord on climate change, but also withdrawing support to the World Health Organization. I don't know. It's a raft of executive orders that he signed, but you pick what you feel is important and relevant to Ugandans.
Apple, when President Trump signed these executive orders, one, it was not a surprise because the US campaign takes a long time. Like Trump himself has actually campaigned since he left office. And as you know, in the US, people pay attention to the program that you are intending to present when you get to office. And it's only 4 years. So from day one, you are expected to begin delivering because you know that after 4 years, there will be a test.
You have 3 minutes.
It is on you. So I will focus on these executive orders that are likely to affect us. US contributes about 15% of the World Health Organization's budget, which goes into that arm of the UN to go and support interventions in various countries, like immunization, emergencies, and so forth. We also know that Uganda has been having signs of climate change, which is affecting weather patterns. The most affected areas, like our mountainous areas of Ogiso. So if you withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement, then it means even the funding of the US to that is also going to be withdrawn. Now in Uganda, we have a challenge that there are programs where we have left like even 80% to be covered by that foreign aid, like issues of environment and preservation of wetlands, issues of climate change interventions, building resilient communities in vulnerable areas. We have programs there like of digging, for instance, terraces and so forth, and planting elephant grass to prevent soil erosion. Those have been ongoing, and many of them supported by the USA in Uganda. We also know that one of the single biggest funders for the refugees here, in refugees, humanitarian response, is the US through USAID. The other critical aspect is the Presidential Emergency Plan Fund for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. The US pumps in about $6.2 billion per year, but millions of dollars come through CDC, Center for Disease Control, and I used to buy ARVs to keep our patients on medicine. Government puts very little money in ARVs.
So what is likely to happen now?
So what is likely to happen is that one, if they remove 15% from WHO, it means the recipient countries for some of this, like for immunization and so, is going to drop, unless other partners come in and cover the gap. But if you see, between the US and China, the second biggest donor to WHO, US puts in about $107 million, China puts in about half. So it means China will need to up their game in order to cover up the gap. Or governments domestically need now to reprioritize their budgets. If you have a budget where you are just feeding politicians, everyone is distributing money as a donor, you may have to go the
finally. What should we be doing as a country in the face of these implications?
Every country should have strategic thinkers. Because we must have been watching these events in the US for the last 2 years, and therefore building scenarios that supposing this happens, what are we going to do? Unfortunately, we saw our budget framework paper tabled before Parliament, but I'm not seeing how we are playing about with the budget in anticipation of these changes, so that we cover this gap.
Thank you so much. We are running out of time. Dr. Rugarama, the implications of the Trump presidency. You were a strong supporter of Donald Trump, I presume.
I have already stated that I really don't care who occupies the Oval Office, whether a Democrat or a Republican, so it doesn't matter. The Trump's administration, whether it was going to be Trump or the other Kamala Harris, at the end of the day, the foreign policy of United States of America still remains the same.
Sure.
I'm telling you.
With these executive orders,
I can assure you that, for instance, looking at the executive orders, let me just talk about the legislation, the order as to the gender. Trump says that there are only 2 genders. We are all clapping. I'm personally impressed.
That in the US, it is officially
2 genders, male and female. I agree. It was supposed to be like that right from the start. You can imagine the level of madness that had captured that whole so-called high-thinking leadership within the State House. To imagine that there are more than 2. Nevertheless, there are certain decisions that had been taken for countries like Uganda, which were legislating against some of the perceptions that the then administration had. Let me see, now that Trump has said that there are 2 genders, rhyming with Uganda, what he is going to do about, for instance, our being negatively impacted by the removal of AGOA, whether he is going to reverse that.
Okay. Winnie, Fred, in 2.5 minutes, what do you think about the Trump presidency? Actually, this is the second term presidency of Trump.
As an ecofeminist, I just see a problem of power issues. I'll pick only 2 strong statements from his speech. That even for me, I feel they mean so much. That is why I say it is a problem of power. He wants to put back up America to that where he thinks this thing of cutting the aid, it's not about, yes, it's, first of all, Dr. said it well, countries need to strategize, but in him, I feel it's all about him wanting to position America in a state that it has very many countries that are going to cry for that. You know, he has a business mindset, which is a competition mindset. So he's bringing the competition mindset into governance. And for me, I feel it is about power.
Oh.
He wants now like countries
Making America great
because,
again.
Yes, you can't say that the way we are seeing the country, how
He
we are
wants other nations now to go and bow.
that is it.
And
That is
bleed.
what I analyze. What we see globally right now around climate change, not only happening in America.
Yeah, it's a global challenge.
America is one of the most emitters. They put in a lot of money.
Carbon
You
emitters.
can't wake up one day, yet you're even one of the countries which has caused the country to be where it is around environment and climate crisis we are having, and then you say you're pulling out. You're not being fair. You can't say you're pulling out of something that is contributing to health. Yet at some point, when you read the history, you will see there is a percentage of your contribution.
Good morning, Mr. Paulo. Thank you for the show. I would like to ask my brother, Mr. Rugarama, that what is the NRM ideology he's talking about? Is he trying to say that for 39 years of NRM, NRM is trying to find the right people to carry forward its ideology? If so, how long will it take them? To be honest, after 39 years in power, NRM would at least have put in place the basic needs such as clean water. I think that's what I talked about. Affordable healthcare, a good diet to all its UPE children, and a basic road network. If the energy Mr. Museveni is putting it to monitor the first 1 trillion put in PDM was the same energy he was using to trace his thieves in government, our country would be able to save the 10 trillion that goes missing every financial year, and every district would have clean water. I wish you a nice week. Ntate Richard watching you from the Republic of Seychelles. Well,
Wonderful.
thank you so much for watching.
Just to answer the ideology part of it in a second.
We are running
The
out of
ideology is simply that Magna Charta upon which the NRM promised to rule the people of Uganda.
Thank you so
and
much,
it is the
10-point
Comrade
program.
program.
Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much, Winfred, for coming over.
Thank you, Tom.
Dr. Werihe, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And Rugarama, I hope to see you again.
Absolutely, I'm available.
Richard Baguma, we miss you, but we know you'll be with us next time. Thank you so much, our viewers, for your comments and observations. But on top of all that, thank you so much for watching. You can follow these programs on YouTube. Go look out for Salt TV Uganda or Salt Media Uganda. You'll look out for the dialogue and watch it over and over again. My name is Prince Apollo. I wish you a splendid week ahead. God bless you and God bless Uganda.